He's a member of the Natural Resources Committee on the Hill. Congressman, welcome. You know, Putin has used oil as a weapon. How did Europe, and us to a much, much lesser extent, how did Europe end up having to rely on Vladimir Putin in order to keep its lights on and the folks there warm?
Yeah, good to be with you, Eric. And when American energy policy is weak, that means Russia is stronger. And what we've seen is a weak energy policy from the far left and the Biden administration, which has been an attack on domestic energy here in the U.S. You know, they have an agenda that's created bad policy, but what they don't have is a coherent plan that actually solves our energy problem. And as a result, we used to be a net exporter.
What exactly would you like to see happen?
We've got to open up American energy for business. We have to, Biden has to back off on his war on U.S. energy. It started on day one with the cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline, his moratorium on leases on federal onshore and offshore. That has to be removed. But we need to be developing all kinds of energy, not just fossil fuels. We need to be looking at nuclear, at hydro, at fossil fuels, at wind and solar. But this administration thinks that electric vehicles are going to solve the world's problems and you need wind and solar. And they're in a vacuum. They're not looking at the rest of the world. They're ignoring the fact that China built 38 gigawatts of coal power plants last year. Our energy policy needs to be to provide reliable, affordable energy. And guess what? We can make it the cleanest in the world here in the United States.
You know, the administration, we heard Jen Psaki, I mean, they're saying, look, there are 19,000 oil licenses available. Look, they're saying it's the oil companies that are giving it to us.
The fact that they're trying to deflect from the policy that Biden started in the debate with Bernie Sanders that said he wanted to shut down fossil fuels, the actions that this administration has taken, these 9,000 permits that they're talking about, that doesn't tell the whole story. Just because you have a permit doesn't mean that you can drill on or develop a field. It doesn't mean that you have all the other permits and regulatory loopholes checked so that you can go in and develop it. If American energy producers could be producing energy, they would be producing it. And plus, this administration has created an environment where investors are scared to invest in fossil fuels because they know there's an all-out attack on it. So this is not only hurting investment on public lands, but also on private lands where you don't have near the regulatory loopholes to go through. Investors are backing off because they can't make a long-term investment knowing that this administration has openly declared war on U.S. domestic energy.
Well, you know, it's also Vladimir Putin. Experts are saying that the Russians had a strategy over in Europe, get this, that they supported climate activists and others to get off of nuclear, to end fracking. And that was part of Putin's strategy over the last decade plus in order to sell Europe more gas and oil. Let me read you what the activist Michael Schellenberger has written about this. I mean, this is pretty astounding. He writes, quote, climate activists, partly funded by Russia, blocked fracking. In 2014, NATO Secretary General revealed Russia was funding climate activists, saying, quote, Russia engaged actively with so-called non-governmental organizations working against shale gas to maintain dependence on imported Russian gas. Russia exports 3 times more gas than Europe produces. Why? Because climate activists, partly funded by Russia, blocked fracking. Finally, Congressman, does it surprise you that Putin may have been sitting in the Kremlin trying to back some of these groups to end nuclear power so that he could hold the West hostage by selling them more oil and gas?
Not at all, Eric. And like you said, Putin had a strategy and have an agenda. We do not have a sound energy policy here. And it's not just Putin, it's China as well that's promoting all this, no fracking, attacking our domestic energy production here so that they can have the energy and produce the things that we need to buy here in the United States. Russia and China are not backing off on carbon emissions, and carbon is a global issue. We can't solve the world's carbon problem here in the U.S. alone. So we have to have a strategy and a plan that actually works. Where we're at right now is not workable. We have to change gears and start producing domestic energy at a rapid pace.
Arkansas Congressman Bruce Westerman, thank you for your insight. That's pretty stunning that this could be part of the geopolitical efforts by Putin to put a stranglehold on us, which he, in a way, at least for Europe, has. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
And Eric, Putin's war